Hello guys, it's been a while since I recorded a video, but today I am going to present you some stuff related to GitHub Codespaces and Cloudflare Pages. So why GitHub Codespaces and Cloudflare Pages? Like you know, GitHub Codespaces gives you a development environment that's hosted in the cloud. This means that at any time you could start Visual Studio Code in your browser that will run a project in their cloud. So you have port forwarding and all the fancy stuff that you might need. You could code from any device, although I don't recommend that. And the interesting thing is that this is free for you for 60 hours for each month. By the way, we are using this at the University of Veliko Trnovo. I'm giving lectures there for PHP, and for all the exercises we are using GitHub Codespaces, and also we are using this in our academy. So if you are more interested, you could open the link. The next thing that we are going to do is we will be learning some things about Cloudflare Pages. It's fairly new stuff. It's a JavaScript API markup platform. You have some dynamic functionality that you could do with Cloudflare workers, and you have 500 builds per month that are free. So this means you could deploy a small family website 20 times per day. And the funny thing, you don't have bandwidth, it's unlimited. More information could be found from pages.cloudflare.com. What we are going to build now, so we are going to run one code space. In that code space, we will install Drupal. We will have our own database and storage. In Drupal, we will create a page and we will add an option to generate the static site. Once the static site is generated, we will sync all the HTML files to Cloudflare Pages, and Cloudflare Pages will serve the small family website for us. So let's get started. In order for us to start, we will need to open a repository that I have prepared. I'll provide the link as a comment in the video. So the first thing that you need to do is click on the code and then Codespaces and create Codespace on main. When I click in there, you could see a message that this is going to set up Codespace for me. And on the bottom right, if I open the walk, I could see through which steps this is going. How do you know what are the steps? Well, if you have a repository and if that repository has a folder that's called .dev container, this means that you could run GitHub Codespace. In that folder, there is a dev container JSON file. In that JSON file, we are saying, hey, we're going to build using Docker, and some settings about the Visual Studio Code, what kind of extensions to be enabled, some file associations, etc. All of this is really good documented in GitHub, so you could find a lot of information. And then the actual Docker file, if you open the Docker file, you could see that it's starting from Debian Bullseye, installing PHP, some other things like Node.js, Composer, Drush, because we will be running Drupal. And then this is providing the whole thing for us, the whole package. And if you check here, you could see how it's passing through all the steps and installing all the packages listed. So while this is still in progress, what we are going to do is actually show you, I'm planning to show you how we are going to sync the data. In order for us to sync the data to Cloudflare Pages, we need to provide the Cloudflare account ID and then an API token. The next thing is we are using Wrangler to publish the static HTML to a certain project. How do you know what's the project? Well, if you go one step back, let's open here and visit. This is going to open a domain that Cloudflare Pages provided for me. You could see it says my dummy test page, so it's nothing yet. We haven't done anything. And the next thing you could check in the docs that with Wrangler CLI, you could run pages deploy, which will actually sync the details. But in order for us to be able to do that, we need to create an API token that we are going to use. How do we create those tokens? Well, you open API tokens, then you go to create token, and we are going to create a custom token. This is going to be pages token, and I'm interested in Cloudflare Pages here, and I want to read, and then another one, Pages, that is going to edit. I'm adding both of the permissions, although you need only one of them just to show you that you can. So I'm adding here edit. I'm not going to make any account restrictions, client IP, etc. You could do that. Of course, for production, you should do that. So I'm creating the token. And once I created the token, I get the actual token and paste it. Don't worry, if you're following my steps, this token won't be active once the video is uploaded. And how you could check that, it says, please test this token if you run the following. So I'm just opening a terminal window, pasting, and I see status active, and this API token is valid and active. So it seems that we already have our token. Let's see what happened with the code space. It's still building. I just saw that it's creating the config file for PHP. So once this is done, we will be able to continue following the steps that are described in the README. What are the steps described in the README? First, you need to click create code space on this repository. Then when it starts, you should run setup.sh. So what does setup.sh has in it? Well, it has a couple of lines. One of them is installing Wrangler, which we need in order for us to be able to sync the generated static version of the site. Then it's going to create a Drupal recommended project. You could see it's creating version 10 because we are using Tommy module, and as of this time, it's not it doesn't have a version compatible with Drupal 11. That's why we are using Drupal 10. And it's installing the site using SQLite database, and then it's changing the admin username and passwords to the most secure thing you could imagine, 1, 2, 3, enabling the Tommy module, clearing cache, and then it's setting reverse proxy rules. So where we stand, is it running the commands? Yes, it's still running the commands. We are waiting for the actual success message. Outcome success user. Okay. Is it up and running? Yes, it should be up and running. So as this is done correctly, the next step that we are going to do is just open a new console, and in it we are going to run setup.sh. Setup.sh, now it will go and install all the Drupal packages. There is one thing that I'm sure you will see when you run those type of stuff on GitHub Codespace. It's extremely fast when you have to download packages because most of them are already hosted in GitHub. So you could see how fast I am installing and downloading all the packages that I need to run Drupal. Then the next steps is actually installing them. And I'm loading Tommy module. I'm being asked, am I okay to have a database file created? And I say yes. And the next thing is it will go and actually install Drupal. So it's currently selecting languages, profiles, and etc. And how do I know that? Well, this is the step, and it will then change the admin password once it passes that. You see that installation was complete. We already have some admin user and password, but then the password was changed, and now it's installing Drupal Tommy module. And once this is installed, we get the message that Drupal Tommy module has been installed. And that's it. We already have Drupal. How do I know that? Well, we have this Drupal site folder. And if I open the Drupal site folder and run vendor bin drush st, I should see that we have Drupal 10 instance. And if we have that, if I run Drupal surf or drush surf actually, it will start a server for me, and on the bottom right, I get a pop-up that says, hey, do you want to open this in a new tab? And it's already making port forwarding by running PHP. And I know that when I try to open this domain, it will have the reverse proxy to localhost. That's why we are adding this. So now we have Drupal installed. So I'm entering with the most secure password 123. And when I enter, I'm already in my admin panel. And when I'm in the admin panel, I'll just create a new content. It's going to be a basic page. So this is a basic page example. Welcome to Drupal with GitHub Codespaces and Cloudflare Pages. This is the text that we will deploy once we run the static generation. So let's just create the content. The node is created. The next thing I'm going to do is go to configuration, then basic site settings, and add the default home page to be the node that I just created. If I go back to sites, then I see my content. And as I already see the content, I want to generate static site. So I click on generate static site and then submit. It's generating the static site against localhost, and this is creating a new folder called HTML inside my Drupal folder. You could preview if you click on preview, and this will show you how it will look like. And in here, if you open the HTML folder, you see the generated HTML and also all the assets that goes with it. So we already have a static version, but this static HTML is not synchronized with my Cloudflare page. In order for me to do that, I have to actually run this command by providing the account ID, the API token, and then syncing the details. So I just have a new token that is confirmed that it will work. So I just copied this to the file first. Let's see here. I copy the file. I make sure that this is one line command. And when I do that, it's already one line. I open a new terminal window and paste it. And when I paste it, what happens is it's going to upload. You see the information, it's uploading already. And it says success, it's deploying now. How do you know it's deploying? Well, if you go to your workers in here, you see a few seconds ago, there was a deploy, and these are all the files that were added. If you have functions, you could have redirects, you could add headers, so it's really nice. You could see the actual timing when this is done. And now I'm being asked, do I want to send any metrics? I say no. And this means if I refresh the page, I expect to see the different content saying this is a basic page example. So I just refresh, and this is a basic page example. If you want to have a new version, let's say you're running this small family site. So someone said, hey, could you please go and update it? I go edit the page and say, I am updating the page and generating again. So I'm generating static again. Let's make it bold and save it. So now I'm having a new version. In order for me to have that new version on Cloudflare Pages, I need to generate static. I'm generating static. And once this is generated, I need to sync the files with two Cloudflare Pages. I'm running deploy. Deploy is now passing, you could see it. And it says I uploaded only 4 files, not all of them. And if you refresh, you have the latest update. So in short, this is how you could run Drupal with static generation and Cloudflare Pages. I'm doing the sync intentionally manually, so you could see how I create an API token, etc. I know that you could make it fully automated, and I'm using Drupal because I'm familiar with Drupal, but you could use any other system and you could use anything else. So I hope this was interesting. Please comment if you have an idea how you could use that.